We do.
We're all
The
councilors.
councilors.
There's no, not planning.
No board. Variation and additional two, conditional. two.
Variation order 997-21. Welcome, it's 7:02 p.m. We're going to start with variation order number 997-21, 180 Thompson Drive. And it's June 21st, 2021. Meeting called to order. We have supporting material for variation order 997-21, 180 Thompson Drive, Lot 1, Block 50, Plan 751 PLTO, North Division, to consider the installation of a chain link fence as an acceptable fencing type along Thompson Drive in a commercial mixed-use zone, CMU. Go to administration.
Yes, so there's a request for a variation order at 180 Thompson Drive, which is one of the new hotels being constructed in Thompson. The request here is for a non-conforming type of fencing, so it's specifically chain link fencing. Within the zoning bylaw, there's a requirement that any fences along Highway 6 and Thompson Drive not be chain link fence and rather be wood finished plastic masonry wall or any other material that, in the opinion of the development officer, meets the higher standard. So the request has come forward for council to consider a chain link fence along that section of the road that is 5 foot high in the position that is shown in the package provided. We've heard no objections or no supporting letters for the request. So I believe we do have someone on the line tonight on behalf of the developer who would like to speak to council in support of their application.
Good evening.
I need a name.
Terry, I believe. And Raj Gilman.
Okay, Terry and Raj, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Terry.
Which one would like to speak first if you're both speaking?
Raj, do you want to say something or do you want me to go ahead?
Terry, you go ahead.
Okay, so the chain link fence is existing and the request by the owner, Raj, who's online, is that the property has been used as a shortcut. And it's felt that because the chain link fence is existing, that it would be advantageous dollar-wise, and it would keep pedestrian traffic from using the parking lot as a shortcut, which would increase the security that the owner provides to their guests while they're parked in the parking lot.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Council is allowed to ask questions for clarification.
When was the existing fence there erected?
Raj, you better take that one.
What was the question? Sorry.
When was the existing fence put up?
When was the existing fence erected?
It was erected about sometime in the winter.
This past winter.
Yeah, just before the winter started. I would say in October or November.
Thank you.
Was a question for myself, Colleen. Was there a permit taken out to put this fence up?
I don't think so, and we didn't know that this kind of fence is not allowed. So I really don't know. I can't answer this question because contractors should have been responsible to get the permit. I'm the developer and Terry McCullough is the, project manager.
Yeah, just this, Terry, again, just so you know, like there was no permit taken out for the fencing. It was used to contain a construction site. So that's why it was erected last fall.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, yeah.
Any other questions? Anthony?
So I'll just explain. So once council's done with their questions, this meeting would be concluded, and then council will have an opportunity in the regular meeting to debate and then vote on a resolution to either grant the variation or deny it. So that's just the process to remind council.
Okay. So you have no further statements, Carrie or Raj?
Terry, I do not. Raj, do you have anything you wish to say?
Well, I would like to see if this fence can be allowed because we are very close to open our hotel, and if we have to take this fence down, it will further delay the opening of our hotel. And I also see this fence at other places on Thompson Drive. For example, just across from old Staples building, Subway building, on the other side, there's a chain link fence there. So I would like to request that, this fence is allowed to stay there. Thank you.
Thank you.
But where did he say the other fence was erected?
It would be across from the old Staples building is where he's saying. So it's just outside here on the
Best
corner of History Lake next to the Best Western.
And it is sort of before our council's time and that, so we will debate this in council tonight. No, nothing further from councilors for clarification. I'd like to thank you, gentlemen, for putting your case forward, and we will be dealing with it in the regular meeting.
Thank you and good evening.
Good evening. Call for adjournment. Lex and Jeff, all in favor? Thank you. Next, we have a conditional use number 002-21. This is also a public hearing. We have call to order. Pardon me. At 7:09 p.m. We have supporting documentation for conditional use number 002-21, 131 Selkirk Avenue, Lot 3 and 4, Plan 28300. The intent is to allow a bus terminal in a commercial mixed zone, CMU, and we'll go to administration.
Okay, so this is a request for what would have been previously the liquor store in Thompson. It has been sold off to a consortium, I believe, owned by NCN, Nishnaway Cree Nation. The intent here is to convert some of the use of that building to a bus terminal. Council made changes to their zoning bylaw about 1 or 2 years back to allow this in response to several other bus operators wanting to open the CMU zone. So this would be a conditional use, but it is something that we have a history of doing. And this has been reviewed at development review, and there are recommendations for it to permit this with the same conditions that were granted to the other bus companies.
Okay. And Anthony?
Now, I will note that we've received no objections to this request, but we've received support from Mr. David Kabliski on behalf of NCN's Development Corporation. They're very much in favor, as this is their application, and they would ask that council consider this favorably.
Thank you. Angie, we have nobody else on Zoom for this meeting?
No, there's not.
No? Okay. Thank you. Seeing nobody else on Zoom, is there any clarifying questions from council?
Not here to answer.
Pardon?
They're not here to answer if you will want to ask question.
No, there's no one further.
There's
no
nothing
further.
No
further.
further.
Okay, we'll call for adjournment. Earl, Andre, all those in favor? Thank you, we'll be on the agenda. Next, we have conditional use number 003-21, public hearing. And we have supporting documentation for conditional use number 003-21-1315 Stanford Bay, Lot 4, Block 180, Plan 856, POPO, North Division. The intent is to allow a social service facility in a residential medium density zone. I'll go to administration.
This is a request from the group, men are part of the solution or MAPS. They already have a facility on that street, very right next door to this proposed neighboring property for men's transitional housing with in-house programming. That was approved as a conditional use in, I believe, 2013 under the previous zoning bylaw. We've received no objections to this, and I believe there are two people online tonight to support this application. I believe it is Michelle and Oswald.
Good evening, Michelle Oswald, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
I hear you.
Okay, great.
So we're now receiving presentations in favor or opposed. Would you like to go first, Oswald?
Sure. Just for introduction, my name is Oswald Saw. I'm the president for Manor Park Solution, and I'm speaking in support of conditional use number 3-21 for 13 and 15 Stanford Bay to be used as transitional housing for women. As many of you know, and was just mentioned by Anthony, MAPS has owned and operated transitional housing for men called the Phoenix House, located at 9 and 11 Stanford Bay, next to 13 and 15 Stanford Bay since 2013. We've gone through a similar process in requesting conditional use for the property when it was purchased. At that time, as we've done with this request, we forwarded information of the hearing to all of the houses on Stanford Bay by dropping off information of the hearing to each of the residents on the street. At the hearing for 911 Stanford Way, we made a commitment, as we do now, that we'll operate the Phoenix House in a manner that does not take away, and if anything, will be a positive addition to the street and the neighborhood. I believe we have kept that promise. Our success rate for the Phoenix House is in a range of 93 to 95%. This data concludes that over 9 out of every 10 men that have accessed our transitional housing services has moved on to more stable housing and reunification with their community and or their families. As with the Phoenix House, the transitional housing for women will be sober living with in-house programming and counseling geared towards assisting women to continue to stay sober and drug-free as they work on long-term goals for stable housing and possible reunification with their children, family, and their community. MAPS philosophy is that we're willing to assist you if you're willing to take ownership to stay sober and drug-free. We do not provide services to individuals who are not willing or able to commit to sober and drug-free living. MAPS also provides counseling services through in-person and by video conferencing to individuals with anger and stress issues with a focus on domestic violence. The province of Manitoba contacted us to look into expanding our transitional housing services, which speaks to the success rate that we've had with our programming. As with the Phoenix House, the province of Manitoba and the federal government through its Reaching Home program will be fully funding the purchase and furnishing of the property. The province is also committed to supporting a sustainability model for the operation. So we're requesting Mayor and Council to also support this conditional use unanimously, as this service supports the initiatives that the City of Thompson has also undertaken to help address social issues in the city. If Mayor and Council, administration, or any residents of Thompson has any questions, they're free to contact our office at 778-6040. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle, do you have comments?
Not there.
Did we lose Michelle?
No, there's no comment.
No comment? Okay, do we have any comments from the council to understand this? Les?
Yeah, with the housing that Oswald had described before, that's gone on stand for quite a few years. Myself personally, I have not ever heard anything being an issue over in that area because of that, and certainly it's good news that we're looking at one for one as well, so.
Okay, thank you. And we can make further comments if we're willing to move it on to council. Hearing nothing, Oswald, I believe this is going on to the regular council agenda tonight. Thank you for the great presentation. I also agree, I have never heard any concerns about the men's residence, so this will move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. Call for adjournment. Kathy and Miss, all in favor? Thank you very much. Okay, folks. We are now going to call City Council meeting for June 21st, 2021 to order at 7:18 p.m. I'd like to recognize that we are on Treaty 5 land and we are all treaty people. So thank you very much. I'd like to have an approval of the agenda. Deputy Mayor, Councilor Lindbergh, all in favor? Carried. Community comments, feedback? Yes, Anthony?
We received 2 questions by email or by telephone earlier today, both from Mr. Ron Matichuk. The first question is, when is the city going to pick up mattresses on Knife Crescent? We checked with our Public Works Department. They've already picked up a round of mattresses to date on Knife Crescent. As this is basically a report that there's more, they will be going around tomorrow to find more mattresses on Knife Crescent to remove. And in the future, if anyone does see mattresses, feel free to report them to City Hall or to the Public Works Department so they can be added to the list and then dealt with. The second question was, 2 years ago, the city picked up scrap metal on the other side of the berm and left mattresses. Why did they do that? I've not been able to identify any information on this matter yet. I'm having the department look into this, and I don't have an answer for that at this moment, as I don't have records pertaining to that particular event.
Thank you.
Those are the only 2 questions you've seen for this week.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Matichuk. We will be getting back to you on your second question, and we answered your first one, so thank you. Next, we're going to go to adoption of the minutes from regular council meeting June 7th, 2021. Resolution 2021-091, moved by Councillor Ellsworth, seconded by Councillor Fountain. Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held in Council Chambers, City Hall, Thompson, Manitoba, on Monday, June 7th, 2021, be adopted as circulated. Administration?
Nothing further.
Councillor Ellsworth? Any other councillors' comments? Call for the question. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
I'm gonna put each one there, please. I'm not sure if this is what the public is seeing, but if it is, I'd suggest that we change that.
I can't see anything, so.
It's just somebody's name. There we go. Thanks, guys.
Can everybody see appropriately now? Okay. Thank you, Councillor Fowler.
Well, they might have been better off looking at the name than my ugly haircut.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yes.
6.1 is the May check registers. Administration.
The May check registers are brought to the Finance Committee and reviewed there, available to council. A number of checks were reviewed. We've not received any requests for this evening for checks reviewed, so it's presented as information.
Thank you. Councillor Wong.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just have 3 checks I need Jenny to send me or whatever the question number asked tonight. 00328682. The amount of $22,152.44. Why is it so high? Okay, number 2. 00327706. $44,718.93. Usually what I ask that check will be, I like to break it down. I know we're not going to discuss, but at least I know what it's there for. If there's an itemized, that would be great. And the last one will be 00327718, $6,856.93. And again, I like to break it down for individual expenses for individual machine, because we don't have the asset management set up yet for me to able to know each machine. So I want to see what they're spending on every time until we get that developed. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further? Just a reminder, Councillor Wong, that if you would ask these before the meeting, we could bring the answer to the public for you. We will definitely get you the answer personally now.
That was fine all the while. I'm okay with the way that we've been dealing with.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor Valentino?
I was just going to remind council the same thing, that there's plenty of time for council to attend a meeting or to ask as email is sent out, instead of putting our administration on the spot. I think out of respect, the process should be followed by council. Thank you, Mayor Smith.
Thank you. One question on check register? We'll move on to number 7, resolution. Point 1 is a resolution to approve the conditional use 002-21, 131 Selkirk Avenue. Resolution 2021-092, moved by Councillor Fountain, seconded by Councillor Lundmark. Whereas the city of Thompson is in receipt of a conditional use application number 002-21 for lot 3 and 4, plan 28300 131 Selkirk Avenue, to allow a bus terminal in a commercial mixed zone CMU. And whereas under the provisions of the Planning Act, a public hearing has been held to hear representations for and or against the conditional use application. Now therefore be it resolved that council approve the conditional use application number 002-21 for lot 3-4, plan 28300 131 Selkirk Avenue, to allow a bus terminal in a commercial mixed zone CMU with the following conditions. Buses do not interfere with parking and operations of adjacent businesses, and the bus schedule has minimum disruptions to delivery and residents. For the administration?
Yes, Your Worship, as mentioned in the hearing, this was a change that council made to encourage the bus businesses in the CMU zone. And the conditions that are being proposed here are identical to the ones that all the other bus companies have been required to follow in the CMU zone.
Thank you. Councillors? Councillor Wong?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Only question I have is about when they load or unload passenger using the bus, do they identify where they're going to park the buses? Why I'm asking this question, because back in the day when Liquor Mart has to deliver the beer, they have the trailer sitting and blocking the road. So that was a concern for a long time. So is this going to be addressed, or you're already taking care of?
Anthony?
My understanding is that all the loading and unloading would be within their property and not blocking the streets. That's my understanding of how the use of that property would be.
That's all. Thank you.
And we do have it mentioned, it covered off in the conditional use. I hope not. Block.
Sorry, Madam Mayor.
I said we also have it covered off in that the bus schedule, no disruptions to the neighbors. So that was obviously a disruption that won't be allowed. Thank you. Anybody else? Councillor Ellsworth?
Yeah, it's, my only concern in our meeting, our standing committee meeting, was that NCM would be treated the same as anyone else, and I believe they have been. And secondly, it's good to see they building that was vacant, now being put to good use, and I think it's a good location for it. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other councillor? Councillor Fountain.
I'd just like to extend my congratulations to Ms. Chau's Cree Nation and wish them the best of luck in their new building. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I too would like to thank Nature's Waste Cree Nation for buying in one of our buildings that was already vacant downtown and repurposing it. So good luck in the endeavor if this passes tonight. And with that, no one else, we will call for the vote. All those in favor? Okay, carried unanimously. Thank you. Seven point two is a resolution to approve conditional use number 003-21, 13 and 15 Stanford Bay. Resolution 2021-093, moved by Councillor Fountain, seconded by Councillor Wong. Whereas the city of Thompson is in receipt of a conditional use application number 003-21 for Lot 4, Block 180, Plan 856 PO, North Division, 13 and 15 Stanford Bay, to allow a social service facility in a residential medium density zone, RMD. And whereas under the provisions of the Planning Act, a public hearing has been held to hear representations for and or against the conditional use application. Now therefore be it resolved that council approve conditional use application number 003-21 for Lot 4, Block 180, Plan 856 PLPO, North Division, 13 and 15 Stanford Bay, to allow a social service facility in a residential medium density zone and under the following conditions: to keep residents in according with the City of Thompson Property Standards Bylaw 1482-94 as amended. Administration?
This is mentioned in the public hearing. We have support, people in support of this project that spoke favorably to it. We've not received anyone against the project. There's already a history of a project like this at 9-11 Stanford Bay that seems to be seen very favorably by the community.
Thank you. Councillor Fountain is mover.
I have no question.
Deputy Mayor, okay.
Yeah, I'd like to speak to this. I'm going to be supporting this definitely, and there's such a need for transitional housing in our city that this is a good news story. If it was to pass tonight, I also think that it's worth noting Mr. Saw's true advocacy for this kind of need within our city, and I know I thank him very much for his hard work on this. And I think that this is a great thing, and I mean we need more of it. So I'll definitely be supporting it. Thank you, Mayor Smith.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I also am in support of this transitional, basically affordable housing. We have been working on projects similar to this within the city over the last couple years and hope to be able to expand on it. So thank you, Michelle and Ozzy for bringing this forward. And we will, it definitely is a good news story for the city. I hope you will bring that forward when when it passes. Thank you. So we'll call for the question. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Seven point three is a resolution to approve variation order 997-21, 180 Thompson Drive North. Resolution 2021-094, moved by Councillor Lenmark, seconded by Deputy Mayor Valentino. And whereas the city of Thompson is in receipt of a variation order application number 997-21 for 180 Thompson Drive for Lot 1, Block 50, Plan 751 PLTO North Division, to consider the installation of a chain link fence is an acceptable fencing type along Thompson Drive in a commercial mixed-use zone. And whereas under the provisions of the Planning Act, a public hearing has been held to hear representations for and or against the variation order. Now therefore be resolved that council approve the variation order application 997-21, 180 Thompson Drive North for Lot 1, Block 50, Plan 751, PLT North Division. Administration?
Again, as mentioned in the public hearing, this is a request for the fencing that is chain link, which is not consistent with the zoning bylaw for the city of Thompson. Request that this chain link fence is already up, and that council consider allowing that chain link fence to remain. Council heard representations in favor from the developer as well as from the contractor on this matter. We have not received any others for or against this matter at this time.
Thank you, Councillor Lundmark, as mover.
That doesn't really want to say, if you don't move when I want to oppose something, but I'm opposed to this. We have the bylaws and reasons for doing things. We have requirements to meet. It's either supposed to be wood finished, plastic, masonry walls, especially along Thompson Drive. And we have requested other people in our term to follow these rules. And I think that everybody should be. If we have bylaws to follow for a reason, they are for a reason, and we should abide by them. So I won't be in favor of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comment? Councillor Fountain?
Yeah, I would like to agree with Councilor Lundmark. This is, it's clear that when we're sending this one message to a landowner, you know, the Simcoe landowner, and requiring them to put up a wooden fence, that we need to be consistent with other people coming to us and building it under the same conditions. I said, I have no problem with actually this fence doesn't look that bad. My concern isn't necessarily the fence, but the consistency. And I would hope that the city also follows that guidance when we build a fence, if we build a fence for the Jumpstart Park. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Any other councillors? Deputy Mayor Valentino?
Yeah, I'm not gonna be supporting this either for the same reasons as the previous comments. I believe that we do have to keep some kind of same fencing going on moving forward. There was also the recent wood fence just built at the neighboring property with the Y and KTC, I believe, last week. So I think that it would look much better if we all follow the bylaws and the same kind of fencing. In saying that, I do appreciate the size and the scope of this project and what this developer has done in that area. It does look very well, and I do commend them for not stopping during COVID. They continue to work. And I think we're an open council, and pleased to remember to the developer that we are open to hear at our development review committee as delegation, and an open conversation is always willing to have on our part. So unfortunately, I won't be supporting this as it is tonight.
Thank you, Councillor Crew.
I also won't be supporting this. We are investing quite a bit of money this year into beautification, and obviously fencing is part of that, and that is in our bylaws. So, and the fact that the fence was put up before a permit is also something that I disapprove with. So I won't be approving or this.
Thank you. Any other councillors? Councillor Fountain?
I'd just like to call for a recorded vote, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. I also, as part of the development review committee over the last 2 years, we very consistent with the rules that they be followed. And I think we have 2 other properties just recently on Thompson Drive that had to invest a lot of money in order to follow the rule. And I really do believe that the contractor would have reached out to the city for a permit, not they would, I know they would have been told that this wasn't acceptable. So I too won't be supporting this tonight. Is there any other councillors? Okay, as requested by Councillor Fountain in a recorded vote, who is in favor of this resolution to leave the chain link fence up? Seeing none, who is opposed? We got, it's unanimous, so we have Councillor Wong, Councillor Prue, Councillor Colburn, Deputy Mayor Valentino, Mayor Smoot, Councillor Ellsworth, Councillor Fountain, and Councillor Lundmark, and Councillor McMurdo. Thank you. We did not pass. 7.4 is the resolution to approve the tabulation of prices for the purchase of an animal control van. 7.4, resolution 2021-095, moved by Councillor Fountain, seconded by Councillor McMurdo. Be it resolved that council approve the recommendations of the purchasing agent and award the purchase of the animal control vehicle to Twin Motors Thompson for the tendered price of $31,574.68 with additional taxes as per tender file number 11221. Administration?
As part of the budget deliberation process, it was identified that the current animal control vehicle was no longer roadworthy, had to be taken off the streets. Council has directed administration to seek out a new animal control vehicle. This was floated through an RFP and one response was received, as the package indicates to council here. And I believe the recommendation is to move forward with ordering this vehicle as shown here. Though we must note that there may be delays in delivery due to shortages to microchips in building certain vehicles around the world. So all the information is provided to council. The recommendation that it be approved.
Thank you. Councillor Fountain?
Yes, Madam, thank you. Just want to ensure for the safety of the driver, it's indicated here in the notes that the vehicle was in part selected due to its ability to accept the cage for animals. I want to ensure that that's going to happen, that the cage will be transferred into the vehicle and won't be used to put that in place, the protector of the driver.
That's correct. Like it said that the vehicle is slightly different size than originally had been intended, but the cage will fit. And that's what the plan is for some of the savings on this versus what was budgeted, is the remainder of the kitting out of that vehicle to ensure that it is safe for the transportation of the animal.
Thank you.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Valentino?
Just also for some further information, when we reviewed this at Finance and Admin, I mean, I was shocked to see that it would take 20 to 24 weeks for delivery because of the pandemic. So in the meantime, I did ask about what we are using. So we do have a modified utility truck or vehicle being used, and then we'll have a backup plan for the cold months, or if this delivery vehicle hasn't arrived yet. And you see it coming in right now under budget, but there will still be modifications need to be made for the cages and stuff that will hopefully give us the leeway up to the budgeted amount. So those are a few of the topics that were discussed regarding this at the Finance Committee. Thank you, Mayor Smith.
Thank you. Councillor Ellsworth?
Yeah, so good to see it come in under budget. Not often that happens. My question is, and I think it was answered in finance, I think for the public, it'd be nice to hear it in the council, is there a tracking device being installed in this vehicle?
Yes, all city vehicles are having GPS installed. Currently, our provider, or lot, was in town last week, trialed several GPS units, and then are going to try installing several different ones as we move forward. But yes, as of moving forward, every single city vehicle will have a GPS tracking unit installed.
Thank you. Anyone else?
So
Councillor Colburn?
is that installed by the company or installed by our installer?
All of ours are going to be consistent and installed by our installers so that they're all using the same system.
All new vehicles that we buy will not have GPSs.
No, we will install them as we purchase them, and all of our existing stock of vehicles will have one added.
Councillor Fountain?
Yeah, I'd just like to reiterate, thank you to the administration. This appears very well done. Price, the waiting period notwithstanding, which is beyond the control of administration. This is well done, well under budget. Good job.
Thank you. Any more questions? Okay, this will be a welcome addition to the fleet of the city of Thompson, so thank you. Call for the question. All those in favor? Unanimous? Thank you. Next is 7.5. A resolution to approve the tabulation of prices for the lease for hydrovac. Resolution 2021-096, moved by Councillor Lundmark, seconded by Deputy Mayor Valentino. Be it resolved that council approve the recommendation of the purchasing agent and award the lease of a hydrovac to Joe Johnson Equipment for an estimated expense of $125,000 with additional taxes as per tender file number 12721. Administration?
The city of Thompson's owned hydrovac was in an accident several weeks back, which has rendered it unusable for the meantime. The administration has brought forward a resolution to lease alternate hydrovac until our current hydrovac can either be repaired or replaced. There are certain terms that are included here that it's a 1 month at a time for up to 10 months. And with 15 days notice, the lease agreement can be terminated.
Thank you. Councillor Lundmark?
Yeah, I don't know how far I can go on this. I know we've asked the administration for a couple more questions, and I'd like to support this going forward with the stipulation that they answer a few questions that we had previous. I don't know what I can speak about for that beyond that point. I know that this is an important piece of equipment for doing water and sewer work, and it's a safety item, and that there was some hurt in that accident, and get this in place. And for the meantime, we tend to provide tools for our staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Brady?
Thank you, Mayor.
McMurdo, I'm sorry.
I'll be supporting this resolution with the important caveat that we can withdraw from the agreement with the 15 days notice, because we're going to get some more information from insurance and hopefully pivot into a more long-term solution for a vac truck for the city. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Ellsworth?
Yeah, we need to be clear that the $125,000 with additional taxes is based on 10 months, and we were to use it for 10 months. We do have an agreement that's been planned out with the city manager, a month-to-month rental with a clause that's planned out by Councilor McMurdo with 15 days to get out. This is a piece of equipment that we are told that we need, and right now we haven't had it for, well, almost 3 weeks. Definitely there's questions needs to be answered, but in the meantime, we need a truck. And so we look forward to hearing what the outcome of the old truck is and what we need to do in the future with that one. Thank you.
Thank you. Other councillors, comments? Councillor Wong?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think this is one piece of very important equipment for Thompson to own it. It's a very multitasking job, can do. But the only concern I do have, a few concerns I have is number one, the one that we got in accident, we don't know what the outcome will be. So maybe there will be money that we have to find somewhere to get the new one if we need to. And renting the one, based on the number, it looks like it's pretty cheap to have a monthly rather than hourly. But again, I question about this, about the job. I know I'm not going to be able to convince anybody to agree with me right now because the policy already in place. To me, the real question is we need to look into the policy, how to conduct the job to mitigate all these extra expenses, that's the way. I also provide the solution, but again, I can say all I want, the policy is already in place. It's hard for me to tell everybody to say, hey, let's change it until we change the policy. So due to that reason, and also look at the usage based on what the public works director explained, it looks like a very important piece of machine. So with that, I think I will change my mind to support this time, because after I read all the memo, we can go month to month and we can give 15 days of termination. But I still worry about moving forward with the other machine, which is I'm worried about where the money come from, right? So those are the things I'm not going to talk about today because this is not the topic. So those are concerns. We need to have that. Basically, what I want is a plan. We have no plan. We just do as we go and try to band-aid and figure out things. That's not how I like to see the city moving forward. All right, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Andre?
Yeah, I'll also be in favor of this with the caveats that were mentioned before. As Councillor Wong was saying, to add to it is that reminder, I guess, for administration, and this is where maybe the satellite or GPS units might come in very handy, but this is a good lesson to know how much we use the equipment and wear and tear on it, and it would be nice to have those kind of records at our fingertips, whether it be public works meetings or something like that, because then it'd have some backup to know how much do we really use this and what breaks and the monthly expenses on it. So that's just my thoughts.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you for good conversation and dialogue. I know when that machine went out that morning, it wasn't planning to be in an accident. So of course, everything does come on us very quickly to make decisions. So I think with the questions that we give Anthony tonight to ask, we definitely will get our answers. With that, I'm going to call for the question. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Seven point six is a resolution to approve entering into a contract between the City of Thompson and RG Business Solutions. Resolution 2021-097, moved by Councillor Lundmark, seconded by Councillor Ellsworth. Be it resolved that council approve entering into a one-year contract with RG Business Solutions to provide chief building inspector services for the City of Thompson. City Manager?
This would be a renewal of the contract that council approved, I believe, 2 years ago for the provision of chief building inspector services. It's a requirement for us under our planning district as well as the city to provide these services or otherwise contract them out or hand them back to the province of Manitoba for the provision of them. This would be the same chief building inspector we've been using, and he also works closely with our building inspector in training to get him fully certified to be able to provide those services as well.
Thank you, Councillor Lundmark.
Yeah, we started this back when we offered a building inspector and full time and somebody to help our current building inspector. It's been working well. I don't see the point in changing that up when you're in the middle or he's getting close to his full training. Always furnace. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor or Deputy Mayor Valentino?
I just wanted to add that we discussed this contract at the Finance and Legal meeting. And there's also been a delay in being able to certify our current building instructor because of lack of courses due to COVID. So that's why council will see this as a one-year renewal instead of the past has been the 2 years. And that was part of the discussions we had at Finance. And it looks like those courses will be on the horizon soon, so we can actually have our own completely certified building inspector. Just for information to council. Thank you, Mayor Smith.
Thank you. Councillor Wong?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Pretty much same as the question earlier they asked. I just want to know, is there any timeline for the course going to be qualified for our, because there was a 1 year before to say to train our guy. So this is already third year coming, right? So we're going to renew 2 years. So that means 4 years in total. So how much longer that the course will be available for us to have our in-house qualification?
What happened is, well, we engaged this individual before COVID, when all that happened. At the time, Red River was offering courses ad hoc at their schedule. And then there was a change in the curriculum on how the courses would be offered, which set things off. The new curriculum was set up for the courses to be held in person at Red River. And then COVID hit and the college wasn't prepared yet to offer those courses. What our building inspector has been making progress, what he's been doing through COVID is actually studying on his own and challenging the courses. But there are still several courses that he has to do by classroom. Red River is now ready to offer some of those courses, but the first one isn't until the fall of this year. So it's really dependent. There's only really one place in the province that offers course, and he's dependent on taking those courses up their schedule. So in the interim, we still need someone there to oversee the parts of work that he's not yet qualified for, which is why the contract's brought forward.
We just need the administration to give us an update once they have more clarified for the timeline for the course to be completed. Just give us some update.
Yeah, well, we'll provide that as it goes ahead. They usually only publish their course schedule quarterly or every 6 months, so.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Fountain?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I had the luxury of speaking a little bit with Danny with respect to this arrangement, and he's quite happy, and I know that we've not had any complaints. It's worked out very, very well, and I wish that every employer would have the opportunity to have that type of mentorship go through. It seems like it's done very well, so kudos, and I look forward to supporting this.
Thank you. Councillor Colbert?
Well, I look here and there's no cost but to it. So I think I can remember what the cost was before. Is it the same thing if we would use him for, say, 26 weeks? Right, what would the cost be?
The costs are unchanged, and I believe actually during COVID they dropped. So under the original contract, it included his travel to Thompson. Because of COVID, a lot of it's being done by Zoom and other facilities. So we've not been charged many of those months because he hasn't been traveling to Thompson. So we've been getting discounts over what our actual contract is. I believe the contract was about $4,000 a month, but I think we're really being billed $2,900 to $3,100 a month.
Thank you.
And anybody else? Yeah, I would like to say that it has worked out very well because the person on contract does not have to be in Thompson all the time. It was set up that a week at a time when Danny builds up the work that needs to be looked at, and then they come and go through it all in a 1 week period. He doesn't just come up for single jobs and that. So it's definitely been a benefit to the city, and Danny definitely has been working hard to get his courses, and I appreciate that. So with that, we'll call for the question. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. .7 is a resolution to ratify the collective bargaining agreement with United Steelworkers. Resolution 2021 098. Moved by Councillor Ellsworth, seconded by Councillor Landmark. Be it resolved that the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Thompson and the United Steelworkers Local 8223 dated March 1st, 2020 to February 28th, 2024, be hereby ratified by the City of Thompson. Administration?
So the administrative team was tasked by council to negotiate a new collective bargaining agreement with the United Steelworkers Local. Their previous agreement between the city and the local expired on March 1st, 2020. The city has been negotiating for an extended period with the local and has come to an agreement that is within the mandate that was given by city council to the administrative team. The highlights of that agreement are for the 2022 current wage freeze at zero as of the date of ratification by the union on the 17th of June. There'd be a wage increase of 0.75%. For 2023, a wage increase of 0.75%. And in the final year, a wage increase of 1%. The other change was a negotiation for the recognition of National Indigenous Peoples Day as a stat holiday for United Steelworker members in the City of Thompson. All the other changes are more administrative changes to language and to policies. And the recommendation is that council would ratify by resolution this evening.
Thank you. Councillor Ellsworth.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Certainly, I want to thank the administration and the local 8223 for coming to an agreement. collective agreements are not always easy. They're always difficult, no matter how small or great. You have come within its mandate. So thank you, Anthony, and the leadership for that. I know we're in difficult times. We're in a pandemic. It was difficult before that for the city. We just came from a very difficult budget process. And certainly I look forward to seeing the contract to the expiration for the next time. And one of the parts I really want to identify is I think was really appropriate and was good to see that we've got a stat day called Indigenous Day. We've been trying to work very closely since I've been on council and before that with the Aboriginal Accord. And so I think this is a great win-win for both the city and the local union. Thank you.
Any other comments? Councilor Fung?
Thank you again, Madam Mayor. I've been waiting for this negotiation to complete so that we can discuss this in public. I know that a number of my fellow councilors don't necessarily agree with what I'm going to say, but it's my impression, having gone through the budget process, that our CFO identified wages, that would include our CMP wages, of course, as eating up the entire amount of our tax budget. Now, next meeting, if I'm wrong, I'll make sure to clarify that, but that's what I heard, and I did ask her twice to clarify. For me, it's a very scary place to be as a city, if that is correct. I do want to say, before I go any further, though, I believe that the administration did an excellent job in negotiating my objection to the increase notwithstanding. I think that it was well done and nice to recognize Indigenous Day as well. So kudos to administration. And if I may, just one question for administration. The amount we've identified as an increase for the collective bargaining unit is typically used as the amount of increase that will be given to staff. And I'm wondering if that policy is going to continue.
The terms and conditions for staff have to come to council, so that's a decision for council to make. That is not automatic. So that will be brought forward usually in July, but this year, because of some changes happening with the staffing, probably be brought in later in the year, and then that would be for council to deliberate and decide on.
But that was the past practice.
The past practice has been any increase that is the steel workers, councils have passed on to the administrative team.
Again, I'd like to thank the administration for a really good job negotiating. I won't support this based on the lack of sustainability from my point of view. But nonetheless, kudos to administration for doing a really good job negotiating. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Wong?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I must say that based on what the majority council that mandate the amount for the administration for negotiation, I think they did a damn good job. But I have to be consistent for what I believe. One of the reasons I voted against the budget is the biggest piece of is about the contract, because I never seen any initiative or any plan based on what are we facing right now with the COVID and moving forward and the taxation is getting lesser and lesser. I don't see any plan that to amalgamate position or reduce and all that. To moving forward like this, we are going to add more and more and more every year. I don't see any plan for changing all that. Because I cannot talk about that time, so I did not bring it out when they come to debate about this collective bargaining agreement. But now I can talk about it. There's one big piece of the reason I cannot support the budget. Administration promised us 2 years ago is going to do a lot of changes. The changes I haven't seen. How many positions going to be amalgamated? To me, this is the best time before we agree on the bargaining contract is to make things better. Rewrite the job description, how to amalgamate position, that's the best time to talk about it. But we never done that. Okay, so that's why it's tough. When I look at it, it's not a lot of money if you look at the number, but down the road, it's going to add up, it's compounding every year, more and more and more and more. So I don't know, moving forward, I don't know how we're going to do that, because last year will be tougher. I mean, next year will be tougher, because the GIR, we don't know what the value will give, and which is not wrong based on what Councilor Fountain talked about the FCO, the CFO talked about. The actual revenue we're getting from taxation, property and business is about $10 million. The wages alone is $13 million. Right there is right short of almost $3 million. It's true. That's a fact number, is in the budget. People can see it. So due to all that argument I just put out, I would not able to support it, but I have to kudos to the administration. They're able to put out the tool that we give it to them, that they're able to do it without a lot of room to play, and which is a good job. And I have to stand on my principle, and also I have to believe, I have to respond to the taxpayer, because some of my friends that lost the job, they came to me and asked me this question. I will say that again. They said by September, I have to find money to give it to the city for the taxation. Now I have to go back and answer them. Hey, by the way, we give them a raise as well. I'm sorry, buddy. So anyhow, I will ask for recordable, and thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, Councilor Lundmark?
I'd like to say thank you to your administration and to local 8223 and well for their negotiations and coming to an agreement. It was within our mandate that we gave to them to work to, so I'll be supporting it. As not for long alluded to, there are some issues that we haven't worked on, and we know we're going to work on. Well, hopefully we get our asset management program running shortly. And also we're entering into agreement with the province for doing an audit of our tasks and duties that are done. That's not to say that we're trying to reduce the workforce, but we're trying to make our work more efficient and make sure that we're doing the best we can with what we have. Anyway, I appreciate all the work that you all did to come to this agreement, and thanks very much.
Thank you. Councilor Prue.
Yeah, thanks again to administration. It's always a tough fight. It is definitely wages or labor is an issue across Canada when it comes to taking a piece of the pie. It's always the biggest piece of the pie. So I look forward to the changes in the studies, the efficiency study coming up, and I'll be in favor of this.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilor Fountain?
Yeah, thank you. Just one more comment, Madam Mayor. I want to make it clear that I have no issue with people getting raises. My concern is that and it may not hit our term, it may hit the next term. As this city moves forward with the fiscal challenges that it has, there may come a time where our workforce has to go through a restructuring. And it's always been my position that I feel like a wage freeze was, a way in potentially assisting. It may not have completely avoided an issue like that, but may have assisted in that. I just want to remind this community that I do have a heart, and I feel that people should be paid well and compensated well. I just don't feel like this city is in a good position in the coming years, and because the vast majority of our inputs and taxation go to labor, I just feel like we need to have a real serious look at that. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Valentino?
Thank you, Mayor Smith. Thank you once again to Anthony and to your team and to Local 8223 for coming together with this agreement. It's also, I think, worth noting that they haven't been with the contract since March 1st of 2020 and COVID hit. So I'm sure that didn't make things easier to get this done in a timely manner. I think it's good news, and I think it's numbers we now know, and what we do know is what we can move forward with. And that's exactly what the workforce and what we as a mayor and council can now move forward and have this agreement in place. So thank you again for your hard work.
Councilor Ellsworth?
I don't consider myself any expert in public works, but I think I got a fair knowledge in collective bargaining. And I just want to say two things about collective bargaining. First of all, they ratified the agreement. Let's remember that. How did they ratify it? By what we gave them overall a mandate to do. If we were to turn this down, we talk about saving money, watching our dollars. I got news for you. You'd lose in arbitration. I guarantee it. Bet on that because we've already gave the mandate. It's been ratified. So I wouldn't want to walk down that road. Secondly, Councillor Wong brought up a good point about reviewing job descriptions. I don't know what they did with letters of agreement. What I do know is you can go in with a letter of agreement as long as the union is willing to do it and look at job descriptions at any time. If you agree to do that, there's two methods. It's called simple effective solutions, which is the newer one, or a cooperative wage study, which is the older way. And we have we can do that. And so my suggestion to the administration, if that's somewhere where we need to go, that can be done. I had I don't know if you call it a pleasure or hard work to do that just 3 or 4 years ago when we were having a massive layoff at LA, and we had to do it, and it's tough work. If you think negotiations is tough, job descriptions is that much tougher to try to put together. So I would encourage administration to work with our union folk and see if there's any room to work with that in the coming months, not coming years, because I think there is an opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Great.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Smook. I'd just like to commend administration and the union for their work on the negotiations. I was in attendance at the HR committee meeting on Friday where we got an update, and by all accounts, it was a long and difficult negotiation as it's carried into almost 15 months. And I do share the concerns with sustainability that Councillor Fountain and Councillor Wong have certainly importantly brought up, but at the same time, as Councillor Ellsworth has said, that I wouldn't be confident going to arbitration if we were to reject this agreement, given that administration did deliver within the mandate that we gave them as a council. So I will be supporting tonight. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Coburn.
I'd just like to thank administration for all their hard work and some debate that us councillors put in on this. Very tough. Thank you all. All support.
Thank you. Any other councillors? I too would like to thank our administration and our staff that works hard every day. One thing that we do have to remember as a city, we're actually a service industry. Our citizens expect a level of service from us. So while I think our new efficiency study is going to maybe address a lot of these issues and going to tell us where we can move on and different things, we also have to be very aware that we still have to keep a certain level of service going there. So going forward, our citizens that our union that got this are also tax-paying citizens. They also make a big contribution over and above just working for the city, to the city. So again, and I believe that the Indigenous days that we give, that's just, it wasn't as important a few years ago, but now we see it is important. And that's our step, one more small step toward truth and reconciliation that we are working. And I really think that just in the spirit of that, I think it will definitely make us even more efficient as a city. And I would like to thank everybody for ratifying that, and I will be supporting this, so thank you to all. Anything further? Okay. With that, we'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Isn't this a recorded vote?
Nobody asked for a recorded
I
vote,
did.
no?
Oh, yeah, it was a recorded vote.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed, okay, and the recorded vote. Was it Duncan? Did you request
yes.
as requested by Councillor Wong? Voting in favor is Councillor McMurdo, Councillor Ellsworth, Councillor Lundmark, Mayor Smook, Deputy Mayor Valentino, Councillor Coburn, Councillor Prue. Opposed? Councillor Wong and Councillor Fountain. It's carried. Thank you. Seven point eight is a resolution to approve the tabulation of prices for the purchase of polymer required for the wastewater treatment plant. Resolution 2021-099, moved by Councillor Ellsworth, seconded by Councillor Wong. Be it resolved that council approve the recommendation of the purchasing agent and award the purchase of polymer for the wastewater treatment plant to Clear Tech Industries for the first year with the estimated price of $65,650 with additional taxes, and award the second year to Clean Water Equipment and Technologies Incorporated with the estimated price of $72,800 with additional taxes. The total estimated financial implication for 2 years will be $138,450 with additional taxes as per tender file number 10921. For the administration.
This is a chemical that's used at the wastewater treatment plant to aid in clarifying the water prior to its discharge from the wastewater plant back into the environment. As you see here, there's a tender for 2 years. There was a similar tender brought forward about a month ago, and then the administration had identified an error in the analysis that was provided to council, and the request was made to cancel that resolution. And we identified that the new information be brought back to council. So the information has been corrected and represented to council here today for consideration. And also want to note that all the volumes are estimated with the costs and the payments only for what's actually used.
Thank you. Councillor Ellsworth as mover.
Thank you. Just to follow up with the city manager's in remarks. So if we use more, naturally we would have to pay for more, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. That's all I got.
Any other comments, Councillor? Councillor Wong?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I know last time we tabled this, or rescind this, sorry, not table, rescind this. And all I can see the difference is the company from Brentech to Clearwater Equipment. And the other one, the Cleartech, is still remain the same. And is it, I didn't really compare the note. Is it because of the amount or because of the qualification?
The incorrect company name was used on the previous one, as well as there's additional testing that has to be done behind the scenes. So they actually have to take that chemical to the plant and ensure that it actually works with our process. So there's a number of other steps that have to go into it to make sure that it's acceptable to the use in our wastewater plant before it can be recommended for council to approve.
So Brentech means that they're not able to do the step that you just say.
Either the price was higher or the chemical didn't work as expected. I'm not too sure. All I know is the new analysis has been provided to council saying that this is the one that should be used for the second year.
May I just continue, please? Yeah. Because I believe Brentech, we used to use them before. They also recommend by the engineer, right?
I believe we use Brentech at the water plant. So Brentech provides a number of other water care products that we use, but specifically in this case, this other vendor came up ahead of Brentech in this case for the second year only.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Remmer?
Wastewater treatment plant, like the water treatment plant, they call SNAR testing to see if the effluent that's coming into the facility is working properly with the chemicals that we're using, and we try and do that so we're using the least amount of chemicals or the most efficient chemicals. That's all. But yeah, when you're pricing out, there's actually some chemicals that you could use 1.5 times more product and not have the same effect. Okay? So it's just one of the things that we do is yard testing in those kinds of situations that would help. And then you price your volume, so it's not always about price per volume. So how well it works. One of the things that you want to do. That helped anyway, but
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Excuse me, seeing no questions? We'll call for the question. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. That brings an end to the portion business. We will now go into the mayor's report. On June 8th, excuse me, can't read my own writing. Oh, pardon me. So on June 8th, I and Councillor Ellsworth, Councillor Prue, Deputy Mayor Valentino attended the groundbreaking for the Jumpstart Park. Anthony,
Council Long.
Yeah, I
oh,
was.
Councillor Wong, I'm sorry to get
Do we
that.
look alike?
Yeah.
With your mask, actually, you do. I
That's what I'm
apologize.
dead, yeah.
Yeah.
Councillor Wong, Councillor Ellsworth, Deputy Mayor Valentino attended the Jumpstart Park opening. Anthony and I had an introductory meeting with Gary Arnett, Stacy Kennedy, and Tara Ritchie to be introduced to Gary again. We had met him a couple years ago. Thompson Community Development Corporation had meetings on the 10th, the 15th, and the 17th of June. On June 15th, I attended Northern Workforce Development Conference, invited by Glenn Laycock. Very interesting for things that could happen in the north and are starting to happen. Along with council members, City Manager Anthony McGinnis, we had participated in the AMM Northern June District meetings on Zoom on June 16th, and I would like to acknowledge and thank Deputy Mayor Valentino for letting her name stand and being one of our northern reps on the AMM Northern District. Thank you. The National Peoples Indigenous Day flag was raised today, this afternoon. I would also like to thank councillors in attendance. And tonight, KTC will be having fireworks at 11 p.m. Various committee meetings were held: Public Works and Infrastructure, Legislative and Finance, Recreation, Community Service, and Human Resources. I would also like to thank Pride. They have a crosswalk painted in front of City Hall and will be raising their flag to finish out their month of commemoration for June. On June 26th, we will put up their flag. And on a more solemn note, I would like to send my condolences to the town of Snow Lake. Over the weekend, they lost a miner, and we should all be very cognizant of that in the mining industry in the north. So Snow Lake, we are definitely thinking of you tonight. And that is all I have. I would like to go to other councillors if they did something in the spirit of the city. Councillor Fowler?
If I may, I'd like to give a kudos out. Noticed that a lot of our public were out doing the cleanup. And certainly want to recognize their good efforts and good work, and especially Stephen Crooks and Highway 6 Express. Boy, I saw out there 3 times on 3 separate days, blaring music, having a good time, and actually doing quite a bit of effort. So kudos to them and everyone else who was involved in the cleanup. Thank you to all of you.
Anybody else?
I did also attend the AMM June meeting as well. And again, congratulations, Kathy, on the appointment. And I also want to recognize that there was some MLAs there, particularly our own MLA attendant, Daniel Adams, which was good to know that we had our own MLA, on the AMM June meeting, understanding what the issues in the north, what we're doing. And I also thanks Councillor Fountain for mentioning Stephen Crooks. The first day he was out, I went with him with my grandson, and certainly a lot of good work done there. And certainly you can notice the cleanup, and I encourage other councillors to get out as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, so I would like to also additionally thank Casper for all the hard work that he has going into this Beautify Thompson. And he and Sonia have been working on some different projects. So this isn't something that's just a one-time thing. It's something that's going to continue over the summer. So I believe that the challenge has to go out to us council now as to for us to pick a couple days and get out there and pick up garbage and that and help beautify like we did last year. So we'll discuss it later so that we can brag about it next time. Oh, okay. I've just been told that the Thompson Aboriginal Accord progress issue 2021 has been released as of today. So please go online and get yourself acquainted with it. And I believe there is a TUAS meeting coming up this week also. So thank you. And Councillor Fountain.
Yeah, thank you again. I just want to mention, many of you will remember, we recognized Brett Thompson from the Canadian Forces. Probably one of my best memories being on council was watching his sister get that award on his behalf. It was really nice. I just want to extend a congratulations to him. He made sergeant last week and got married the week before. So thank you to Brett for his service and congratulations. Thank you.
Okay, congratulations, Brett. Okay, anybody else? Seeing none, we'll call for adjournment. Councillor Ellsworth, Councillor Colburn, all those in favor? Adjourned. Have a great week, everybody. July is just around the corner. July is around the corner.
Right now, value is in the.
Thank you. It's 3-2. Just want to stop there.
Yes. Is this still on?
Yes, just one moment.